resided in Chitrakoot much longer than Dandakaranya. Very little is said. The pastimes in Chitrakoot were very confidential. Sita Ram were having very confidential pastimes. Here in Braj, not so much is mentioned. Of course, he resided much of the time at Sringaravat, very close to the Radha Damodar temple and Imli Tal. He spent many hours and hours daily playing. At that time he was a grown-up in his 20s, early 30s, playing on the bank of the river Jamuna with young boys, reenacting cowherd pastimes. Sometimes he would go to Hastinapura or Kurukshetra, but mostly here. He would also visit holy places. Mathura, Gokul, Govardhan, Radhakund, Shyamakund, different places he would go here and there. But primarily his pastimes were very confidential. Today we'll try to speak a few pastimes which are mentioned. Pastimes, as Maharaj has already said, are unlimited. Just a few are mentioned. Nityanandam aham nomi sarvananda karang param harinama padang devam avaduta shiromanim. I bow down to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who is the awarder of the highest joy of all, the bestower of the holy name, and the crest jewel of all Paramahamsa mendicants. Sangsarera parahoy bhaktira sagare yedu bibe se vajuka nitai chandere. Those who wish to cross the ocean of material existence and drown in the ocean of devotional service should worship Lord Nityananda. Nityananda avaduta sabhate agala Chaitanya radasya preme haila pagala. Sri Nityananda, the wandering mendicant, is the foremost of all the associates of Lord Chaitanya. He is the gateway through which all service must pass. He became mad in the ecstasy of service to Lord Chaitanya. Nityanandam aham mande karnilambita moktikam Chaitanya graja rupena pavitrikta bhuttalam. Salutations to Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who has a single pearl suspended from one of his ears, who is the elder brother of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and who is the purifier of the world. Nityananda balite hoy Krishna premodaya olaya sakalanga shugangavaya. Simply by talking of Nityananda Prabhu, one awakens his love for Krishna. Thus all of his bodily limbs are agitated by ecstasy, and tears flow from his eyes like the waters of the Ganges. Does anyone have any paper tissues, please, if possible? It's not ecstatic symptom that there's mucus rolling out of my nose. It just happens to be a the effects of a conditioned living entity. Thank you. Thank you. O son of Padmavati and Hadai Pandit, O ocean of grace, whose lotus feet are veritably places of pilgrimage, you are the remover of distress, the desire tree of divine love. I am a vile wretch, with no master and no other friend. Please save me. This is our situation. There are many amongst us today, I'm sure, who are much more eligible and qualified to speak on this day of Nityananda Trayodasi, on the pastimes of Nityananda. And we beg you, please, bear with us as we try to speak a few words by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas. Maharaj was mentioning about Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Charitamrita. We find in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, also in Bhakti Ratnakar, quite a number of pastimes about Nityananda, and in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Prabhupada one time asked, before he translated, or before he published the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which would you like to do first? He asked his disciples, Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Charitamrita. He wanted to do both. The devotees said, in the BBT, in LA, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada. All right, then we will do Chaitanya Charitamrita. But Chaitanya Bhagavat is also equally important in one sense. It is full of the loving relationships and pastimes of the Lord and His devotees. Practically the most important thing in our Krishna consciousness is Vaishnava Seva and Vaishnava Sangha. And Chaitanya Bhagavat is full of amazing relationships. So today we'll try to hear a few of those of Lord Nityananda. Ye Shunai Nityananda Prabhurakyan Tahare Maliba Gaura Chandra Bhagavan. One who hears the topics of Nityananda Prabhu will attain the lotus feet of Lord Gaura Chandra. As we've heard, Lord Nityananda is the key to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart. He's the key that opens the door. He's not only the gateway to devotional service, but he's the key to Lord Chaitanya's heart. We've heard a lot about that from Maharaj, very wonderfully. I'll just read one more, you could say, invocatory statement. Oh, wrong book. Conditioned soul again. Mistakes. But if we're talking about Lord Nityananda, no matter what angle it is, it's not a mistake, providing we're glorifying Him. Hearing the pastimes of Sri Nityananda brings all auspiciousness. Know for certain that they are revealed only by the mercy of the devotees. So we beg your mercy. Who can understand the pastimes of Lord Nityananda? You can put it up a little bit. I'm a little taller than Janardhan Maharaj. Yeah, Janardhan Maharaj. Okay, that's it. They are confidential even to the Vedas. I wrote only what I have heard from the devotees. I find no beginning or end to the pastimes of Lord Nityananda. I write whatever he inspires me to write. Who's speaking? Vrindavan Das Thakur, the compiler of Chaitanya Bhagavat. I write whatever he inspires me to write, just as a puppet dances only by the control of the puppeteer. Whatever I describe is simply by the direction of Lord Nityananda. He considered himself as a disciple of Nityananda, Vrindavan Das Thakur, and even Kaviraj Goswami received his instruction from Nityananda to go to Vrindavan, where he would achieve all things. Let me offer my respectful obeisances to the feet of the Vaishnavas, so that I may not commit any offenses to them. As Maharaj was mentioning about Jagai and Madai, of course Madai was delivered by Nitai, as we've heard. Still he was not satisfied. He still felt so much anuttapa in his heart, so much fever and burning in his heart, feeling that never could he ever be forgiven for his offenses. He begged for mercy. Nityananda again and again forgave him. He embraced him. Madai offered wonderful prayers to Lord Nityananda, but still he was begging, please give me something that I may become free of all of my heinous activities. Nityananda gave him the wonderful service of serving the Vaishnavas. He said, I do not know how many Vaishnavas I may have offended, or people I've offended. So you build a ghat on the river Ganga, so that all the Vaishnavas can take their bath nicely in the Ganga. And you stay there, and you serve all the devotees and offer your obeisance to all the devotees. So the service of the Vaishnavas is the key to Nityananda's mercy. My dear brothers, please hear with rapt attention the narrations of the pastimes that Lord Nityananda performs with his devotees. These pastimes of Lord Nityananda are the abode of all happiness. Nityananda Ram Ki Jai! Well, now we're going to... Oh, actually we'll just start a very interesting, beautiful names of Lord Nityananda. This is by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. The 12 names of the moon-like Nityananda Prabhu. And it says, one who chants or recites these 12 auspicious holy names of the moon-like Nityananda Chandra, we should have done it earlier, anyway, better late than never, every day between 6 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. will become free from all difficulties and attain all of his most cherished desires. I hope that we don't become full of difficulty because we're reciting them later. Very soon he will receive the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Dev. Nityananda Vudutendur Vasuda Pranabalabha Janavi Jivitapati Krishna Prema Padak Prabhu Padmavati Sutak Shriman Sachinandana Purvajaha Pavam Mato Jagatrata Raktagoda Kalivaraha Shri Nityananda Chandrasya Namadvadashakam Shubham Yahidam Pratyahang Prata Pratyutaya Patennaraha Saklesha Rahito Bhutva Prapnuyat Svamanotam Turnang Chaitanya Devasya Karana Bhajanam Bhavet. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is the embodiment of eternal bliss. We've already heard Nityananda. He is the moon of all avadutas and the beloved of the life breath of Vasudha, his wife. Lord Nityananda is the husband enthusing Janavi with life. Nityananda Ram bestows ecstatic love for Krishna. and he is the Lord and Master of the devotees. Sri Nityananda is the dear son of Padmavati, and he is full of splendorous transcendental majesty. Nitai is the older brother of Sachimata's son Nimai. Nityananda Avadut is maddened in overwhelming ecstatic emotions. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is the savior of the universe. His complexion is golden, tinged with red. Well, these are the 12 names of the moon-like Nityananda Prabhu as given by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So I guess we'll begin with Nityananda Prabhu's pastimes. Who's the treasurer here? Is the treasurer here today? Nityananda is the treasurer. He's the treasurer of the spiritual world. He's also the treasurer of the Namahat. He establishes the Namahat. He's also the treasurer. He bargains. There's a beautiful song. Boro sukhe kabo gai, boro sukhe kabo gai. On it goes. And in that beautiful song, it describes how he freely gives the holy name, but he bargains also. Holy name is free in one sense, but if we want the real holy name, the pure holy name, we have to pay a price. And what is the price? What is the price? Greed is one thing, but there's another price which Nityananda demands. Pardon? Shraddha, faith. The price of one's faith. He gives according to one's faith. The holy name reveals himself by the mercy of Nityananda according to our faith. So he's the treasurer in that way. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, just like when Lord Ramchandra appeared or when Lord Krishna appeared, the Lord sends his confidential associates to prepare the way. He doesn't just turn up. Just like an important person, when he comes into this world, he doesn't just suddenly turn up on the door. He's arrived at the airport, payphone. Hello, this is Barack Obama here. Is that the President of India? Can you send someone to the airport to pick me up? Or maybe I should take a taxi. A whole arrangement is made. Big arrangement. So when the Lord appears, he makes everything. He prepares everything. So when Lord Chaitanya appeared, he also sent many of his most confidential associates. Advaitacharya was already 50 years in this world. Haridas Thakur, 36 years. Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Srivas Thakur, Jagannath Mishra, Mother Sachi Devi, Malini, Srivas Thakur, his wife. So many, and Nityananda is the chief of all the devotees. He appeared in this world on this auspicious day, the 13th day of the waxing moon in the month of Magh. Very auspicious day, in a holy place of Ekachakra Dham. He appeared as the son of Adai Pandit and Padmavati. Of course, they are none other than the eternal mother and father, in one sense, of Lord Balaram. He appeared in that village. His form was absolutely beautiful. All auspicious markings were there. He was the eldest son of Adai Pandit. In his childhood, and some of you have been to Ekachakra, maybe now I've not been for a long time. It was a very simple village with no electricity the last time I was there. It means it was a long time back. Very peaceful. No material modern facilities. Nityananda would just play with his coward boys morning to night. And what would they do? They weren't skateboarding. They weren't playing football or cricket. There was no cricket there. Maybe, but not maybe. If Krishna plays sports with balls sometimes. But all of Nityananda's pastimes were in relationship with Krishna. This is one wonderful lesson which he taught as a child. They would reenact all the pastimes of Krishna Lila, one after the next, after the next, after the next. Over and over in dramatic form. He would tell each and every boy, you say this, you do this, you dress like this, you go there. He was orchestrating the whole pastimes, one after the next. Lord Ramchandra's pastimes. He was reenacting all of those pastimes too, from beginning to end and beyond. One very interesting pastime. They were on the battle of Lanka. A great battle was being fought. One of the boys was dressed up as Ravana. And he said, Lord Nityananda was Lakshman. Lakshman! He's Lakshman. I am now going to fire my Shakti Shela weapon. Protect yourself if you can. And immediately Ravana picked up a lotus flower and threw it at Lakshman or Nityananda. Nityananda collapsed on the ground as if dead. Everyone gathered around. What's happened? What happened, Nitai? No breathing, no life symptoms were there. He seemed to be dead. The boys were crying. News got to Hadai Pandit. He came running there in great grief. My Nitai, what has happened, Nitai? He was so devastated. Nobody knew what to do. After a while, one of the boys remembered, I remember Nitai told us before we started this drama. He said, the boy who's dressed as Hanuman should immediately go to the Gandhamadana mountains and bring back some herbal medicines. So they found that the boy was there. They set him off. And the boy ran off into the forest. And he went the whole pastimes there. Lord Nityananda arranged. He met the mendicant, and then he was delayed, and then he fought with a crocodile in a lake, and then the Rakshasa came, and Hanuman, the boy as Hanuman, fought with them all. Your boss is a dog, get out my way, he said. Your Ravana's no better than a dog. He picked up the mountain, eventually fought with the Gandharvas, and he flew back to where Nitai was lying there, motionless. And one of the boys who took the role of the doctor took the medicines and placed them at the nostril, and immediately Nitai regained his consciousness. In this way they performed unlimited pastimes for the benefit of all living entities, as well as their own pleasure. Hadai Pandit said, Nitai, where did you learn all of these pastimes? Where do you get them from? And Nitai said, these are my pastimes. In this way he spent his youth for 12 years playing. After 12 years, he decided it was time to leave home. Why? Well, it so happens that Lord Nityananda appeared 12 years almost, maybe 12 years and 1 month, before Lord Chaitanya. So when Lord Chaitanya appeared, he decided now's the time to go. I'll read a very interesting verse. This is a beautiful verse, if I can find it. It's like fading here. Yes. In the village of Ekachakra, there's a famous temple of Lord Shiva, known as Moreshvara Shiva. And it's that temple that Hadai Pandit, he would worship there. Lord Nityananda would also worship there. When Lord Nityananda was born in Ekachakra, the deity of Lord Shiva roared so loudly that Advaita Acharya and the other devotees could understand. Now, when you understand that Ekachakra may be, I don't know, 80 kilometers, maybe less, I don't know, something like that from Shantipur. And the deity roared so loudly that Advaita Acharya could hear it. They could hear and understand the roar's meaning at their distant residences. They understood that Avaduta has appeared on this planet. So they were very elated, and the demigods immediately started to chant, Jai! 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 And showered down flowers. But Nityananda, although he was the cynosure, the apple of the eye of Hadai Pandit, decided the time was to leave. Hadai Pandit could feel some unrest. He wouldn't leave his son alone for a moment. Wherever he'd go, he would take Nitai with him. He said he would gaze at Nitai 100 times a minute. He just can't, whatever he was doing, he would just keep looking back, whether he was marketing, business, household, he just kept looking with Nitai, Nitai. He was afraid. Nitai was gone for some reason. And his affection and love for Nitai was unending, unlimited. Because another example, how we should become attached. This type of attachment is actually welcome. Not the attachment to mundane family members. And sure enough, after 12 years, one unknown sannyasi came to the village of Ekachakra. Excuse me, can anyone tell me where the house of Hadai Pandit happens to be? Oh, it's over there. Thank you. He went to the house of Hadai Pandit. Oh, Hadai Pandit was so happy to receive this sannyasi mendicant. Please come in. Please, may I serve you? Kindly accept prasadam in my home. Please, my home is yours. You may ask from me whatever you wish. Be very careful if you imitate Hadai Pandit. I'm not an example, but Janardhan Maharaj is a good example of the sannyasis. You have to be very careful when they come to your home if you offer them, please, whatever you want. So Hadai Pandit was natural. This is the business of a householder. The mendicant very happily received the welcome of Hadai Pandit. He said, and as he was leaving, he said, oh yes, there is one thing, by the way, which, if you could please help me. I'm a mendicant, and I wish to visit all the holy places. But you know what? I don't have an assistant. It would be really nice if I had someone to help me to carry things, and it would be very good for them too. They would also, just for a few days, not for long, they can also visit the holy places. They'll be very happy. And I was thinking that your son would be the ideal person. Oh no. In his heart, Hadai Pandit's heart was like hit by a thunderbolt. His heart was beating. Oh no. What can I do? How is this possible? I promised the mendicant whatever he wants. I cannot go back, but I cannot bear separation from Nitai. He remembered Dasharat and how he gave Ram and Lakshman to Vishvamitra Muni. He remembered so many incidences of how one must keep one's promise, especially to a sadhu. Nitai was very peaceful and smiling. He went to Padmavati, who said, you do whatever your heart tells you to do. He returned to the sadhu and said, you may take my son. The sadhu took Nitai and left. Within a short while, Hailai Pandit could bear no longer the separation. He left the world, just like Dasrat. Nitai happily went on pilgrimage with this sannyasi mendicant. They visited so many places, just like Lord Balaram. When Lord Balaram was present, he also went on pilgrimage during the time of the Battle of Kurukshetra, visiting holy places from top to bottom. Nityananda with this unknown sannyasi, they went to so many places. We'll mention just a few. Gaya. They went to Gaya. They went to Ayodhya, Chitrakoot, Prayag. Of course, they came here to Mathura, Hastinapur, Kurukshetra, Badrinath, Pushkar, Puri, so many places. And in South India, they went to Rameshwaram, Srirangam, Tirupati, Kanyakumari, Pancha Apsarakund, Gokarna. So many places. Just the list is unending practically. Bathing in all the holy rivers. For years and years they were traveling. Eventually they came to Pandharpur. In Pandharpur, there resided one devotee, a Brahmin disciple of Lakshmipati Tirtha, a godbrother of Madhavendra Puri. Nityananda Prabhu met this devotee in Pandharpur who invited him to stay in his house. Nityananda happily accepted the request. He remained more or less incognito for some time in Pandharpur. After a few days, Lakshmipati Tirtha arrived in Pandharpur. He went to his disciple's house because he was familiar and was accustomed to stay there. When he reached the house, he said to this Brahmin disciple, some say it was Rangapuri, but it's not confirmed. He said, "What is it about your house today that is different? I have stayed here many a time, but today I feel something very special, something very, very auspicious." The disciple said, "It is simply your mercy, Guru Maharaj, nothing else, simply because you are here." That night, this Lakshmipati Tirtha, he was a great devotee of Lord Balaram. He began to pray, "Lord Balaram, oh Baladev, I am so fallen, I am such a wretch. I have no hope unless you shower your mercy upon me. Please, if you are merciful to me, your name and fame will be spread far and near. Please be merciful." He began to shed tears. He fell on the ground unconscious. His disciples were all stunned by his feelings, his emotions. After a while, by the arrangement of the Lord, he went into a deep sleep. In his sleep, suddenly, Lord Balaram appeared before him. "Lakshmipati, I am very pleased with your mood and your prayers. Rest assured, I will give you my mercy. Tomorrow, I wish you for me to do something. An avaduta, a mendicant, a greatly advanced soul dressed as an avaduta, will appear here. I wish you to please initiate him. And here is the mantra which I want you to give him." Balaram gave Lakshmipati Tirtha the mantra to initiate this avadut. He woke up, he didn't know what was going on. What is all this about? Oh my Lord, what does he mean? What is this? Suddenly, within a minute or two of his awakening, who should walk. They hadn't met up to this point. They didn't even, Nityananda knew, but he was hiding himself. Lakshmipati did not know that this Avaduta was there as well. And when he woke up, after a short while, Nityananda walked into his room. Seeing Lakshmipati Tirtha's effulgence, Nityananda offered his obeisances, touching Lakshmipati's feet. Lakshmipati Tirtha realized that this was the Avaduta. Nityananda requested, he could see he was greatly elevated and enriched in Krishna prema, love of Krishna. Please initiate me. I have yet to accept initiation from a spiritual master. That very day, Lakshmipati Tirtha initiated Nityananda Prabhu. They spent many days together discussing Krishna Katha, embracing the nectar of this transcendental subject matter. After some days, Nityananda left by his own choice. Lakshmipati Tirtha was feeling greatly distressed at the separation, for some reason, of his disciple. That night he had another dream. This time, Nityananda appeared in his dream. Suddenly, he saw Nityananda transform into Lord Balaram. And he said, Nityananda and myself are non-different. We are one and the same. Try to understand this, that by the service of Nityananda Prabhu, you are serving me. Lakshmipati Tirtha was astonished. My Lord, why have you illusioned me? Why have you bewildered me like this and cheated me? I did not know. And now you've gone. He was feeling so much remorse, he couldn't bear it. And he also left the world in separation from Nityananda. Many times Nityananda showed, as we just heard from Maharaj, how there's no difference between Nityananda and Balaram. One time in the house, this is much later, we'll jump forward because time flying by. In the house of Mother Sachi one time, she had a dream. And in the dream, she had deities of Krishna Balaram in her house. In the dream, she suddenly saw that her son Nimai and this Nitai were fighting with the deities. Nitai was grappling with Krishna and Gauranga with Balaram. Hey, you imposters! Get out of here! No, you go away. This is our house. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Come on. Don't you understand? The era of the coward boys is over. Now it's the time of the Brahmins. We're in charge here. No, you're not. Get out of here. Balaram said, I'll put Krishna on you if you don't get out of here. Nityananda said, who do I care about Krishna? I have my Nimai, I have my Gauranga. I don't care for your Krishna. How dare you eat these offerings? This is ours, not yours. They were fighting over the offerings. Punching and fighting. Mother Sachi was astonished. She didn't know what to make of all this, but motherly affection, of course, she was bewildered. But this way they displayed that they're actually one of them. And then they started laughing and joking, and this is non-difference, non-different. They have these wonderful pastimes, bringing pleasure to one and all. Maybe we still got a little time. Let's see how much time we have. We'll read a little bit about Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, when he left Pandharpur. Shortly afterwards he met Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri was the foremost disciple of Lakshmipati Tirtha. He was the root, the seed, not the root, the seed of the tree of bhakti. In him, pure bhakti, not bhakti in general, but the highest form of bhakti, Madhurya Ras. The seed was in the heart of Madhavendra Puri. When Nityananda Prabhu met Madhavendra Puri, They forgot their own identity, and they fell unconscious when they saw each other. Sri Gaur Chandra repeatedly had said that Madhavendra Puri is the original root of ecstatic love. After both Lord Nityananda and Madhavendra Puri swooned, the disciples headed by Ishvara Puri began to cry. Recovering after some time, Lord Nityananda and Madhavendra Puri embraced each other and cried. Overwhelmed by ecstatic love for Krishna, they rolled on the sand and cried out loudly. The tears of love flowing from their eyes like rain soaked Mother Earth, making her feel gratified. Shivering, shedding of tears, and the hair of their bodies standing on end, as well as other ecstatic symptoms, manifested themselves, one after another, endlessly. This ecstasy was caused by Lord Krishna personally residing in their bodies. Lord Nityananda said, "The results of visiting all the holy places of pilgrimage have now borne fruit. Today I have seen the lotus feet of Madhavendra Puri. Seeing his ecstatic love of Godhead, my life has become successful." This way they spent many, many days together. But by the Lord's arrangement, after some time they went different ways. Whoever hears about the meeting of Lord Nityananda and Madhavendra Puri will certainly achieve the wealth of love for Krishna. Anyone want to receive the wealth of love for Krishna? Nobody? Really? Honestly? Or do you still want the love of mother? The love of your girlfriend, boyfriend, babies? That can also be there in relationship with Krishna. So then, of course, Lord Nityananda eventually returned to Mathura, resided here for many, many years, and see, where should we take it up from now? He resided here, and he decided to stay here, pretty much, again, not fully manifesting himself, more or less incognito, as Lord Chaitanya Gauranga was also incognito in Mayapur. 20 years had passed. Lord Nityananda said, "I will not go to Mayapur until my Lord manifests his opulences. I will stay here in Vrindavan and enjoy my pastimes." After 20 years in Mayapur, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested his external reasons for appearing in this world. Of course, he was up to that point acting in his childhood pastime of Pandit with his coward boyfriends in the role of students and other scholars. But his real purpose externally was to spread the Sankirtan movement. By the spreading of the Sankirtan movement, the Lord tasted the nectar of Krishna Prema. So he began the Sankirtan movement when he was around about 20 years. At that time the devotees came forward, Haridas, they all came forward to participate. Nityananda, realizing that the time had now come, immediately departed from Vrindavan and made his way to Mayapur, to Navadvip Dham. Let's see, what should we read now? Something here. This is the beautiful pastime of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meeting Lord Nityananda for the first time. By providence, Lord Nityananda arrived at Navadvip that very day. Lord Vishwambar, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had been saying that there's going to be a very great personality. He could feel that within a day or two, a very great personality was going to come. So by the will of providence, Lord Nityananda appeared that very day. Lord Vishvambar, after completing his worship of Lord Vishnu, came and sat with the Vaishnavas. The Lord said to everyone, "Today I had a wonderful dream. I saw a beautiful chariot, bedecked with an auspicious flag, came and stopped near my door. Seated upon that chariot was a remarkable personality. He carried a large plough on his shoulder, and he appeared very restless. He had a stick tucked into his clothing, and he carried a pitcher in his left hand. He was dressed in blue garments, and a blue chadar covered his chest. A wonderful earring hung from his left ear. By his features, I assume he is none other than Haladar Balaram." He repeatedly asked, "Is this the house of Nimai Pandit?" I have never seen such a noble and powerful personality. He was effulgent, and he was dressed as an avaduta, or a mendicant. I was struck with wonder just by seeing him. I asked him, "Who are you?" He smilingly replied, "I am your brother. We will meet tomorrow and get to know one another." By hearing his words, my happiness increased. I consider myself as being very similar to that personality. Actually, it's interesting because Lord Chaitanya's elder brother, Vishvarup, of course, had left home many years before to take sannyas. He also quit his body in Pandharpur. And that same Vishvarup, Shankararanya, his name, sannyas name, merged into the form of Nityananda. Vishvarup is nothing but an expansion of Nityananda. They became one body again, you could say. That same Vishvarup was now returning to Mayapur, to Navadvip. So he truly was, or is, the brother of Lord Chaitanya. The Lord became ecstatic in trance. He started to cry out in the mood of Haladar Balaram, "Bring me wine! Bring me wine!" He was overwhelmed with meditation on his brother, feeling his presence. Srivas Thakur calmed him down. "Don't worry," he said. "The wine that you're asking for is right here in front of you. Only those you give it to can relish it." You see? So they're all very ecstatic. And then he said, "I have a feeling in my heart that some holy person has arrived at Navadvip. I already told all of you that we would meet him soon." And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Haridas, Srivas, come here. I want you to go all over Navadvip and find that personality. He must be here somewhere." They went every direction, every house, searching, hours, 9 hours searching. Nowhere could they find. Nowhere could they find such a personality. He was hiding. This was the pastimes of Nityananda. He wanted, the whole pastime was one of, you know, sometimes when there's suspension, you're waiting to meet someone, the times pass, it becomes more and more intense, you know. So they were increasing the intensity of their eventual meeting by the separation there, just to increase the Milan. So eventually, let's see. So then Lord Chaitanya said, "All right, you all come with me. Come with me, we will find that personality." And they all went. And Lord Chaitanya went immediately to the house of Nandanacharya. Shodhyan is the place in Mayapur. When Vishvambar, oh, missed it. Thereafter, when they reached the house of Nandanacharya, Lord Chaitanya was crying out, "Nityananda, Avadut!" He began to smile. "He's staying here. Come, come. I'm telling you the truth." The Lord was crying the holy names. His body was trembling. His voice was choked. Tears flowing from his eyes. Sometimes he leaped 5 steps ahead like a powerful lion. Sometimes he looked behind like a mad elephant. Ecstatically, the Lord repeatedly made a loud sound again and again. This way, they finally reached the house of Nandanacharya. Thereafter, everyone saw a jewel-like personality sitting in the house of Nandanacharya. His effulgence was equal to that of millions of suns. We've heard he's more cooling than millions of moons, but his effulgence was more than millions of suns. Suns and moons. He was sitting in his own mood, deeply absorbed in ecstatic meditation, smiling all the while, aware that Lord Nityananda was in a deep trance of pure devotion. Lord Vishvambhara and his associates offered obeisances. Everyone stood aside with awe and reverence. A beautiful description of his the Lord's teeth resembled rows of pearls. This is actually Lord Chaitanya. Now Nityananda is looking at Lord Chaitanya. The Lord's teeth resembled rows of pearls, and upon seeing his attractive hair, one would practically lose consciousness. While gazing at 2 broad pinkish eyes, one wonders, are these lotus flowers? His 2 long arms reached to his knees. A fine, thin, sacred thread beautified his broad chest. His forehead was wonderfully decorated with tilak. In this way, describing the beautiful. Both the form of Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya were inconceivably beautiful. Vishvambhara stood in front of Nityananda, who at once recognized the Lord of his heart. Nityananda Prabhu, out of joy, became stunned with ecstasy. He stared at Lord Vishvambhara without blinking his eyes. He desired to lick Vishvambhara with his tongue and drink his beauty through his eyes. Nityananda Prabhu desired to embrace Vishvambhara with his arms and smell him with his nose, but he was simply stunned. No one could speak or move. Being astonished, Lord Gauranga, the life and soul of everyone, beheld the situation and began to invent ways to reveal Nityananda Prabhu. With a gesture, the Lord instructed Srivas to recite a verse. So Srivas recited this beautiful verse describing the Vrindavan forest and how it's beautified by the footprints of the Lord. Upon hearing this verse, Nityananda Prabhu fell to the ground unconscious. In great ecstasy, he remained inert as Lord Gauranga urged Srivas to continue. Awaking after a short while, Nityananda Prabhu began to cry, repeatedly hearing the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. He became maddened. He roared like a lion, and the sound shook the universe. He jumped into the air and fell to the ground so forcefully that everyone thought his bones would break to pieces. What to speak of others, even the Vaishnavas became afraid. They prayed, "Oh Krishna, please save him! Krishna, please save him!" He rolled on the ground. His body became wet with tears. While gazing at the attractive form of Lord Vishvambhara, he breathed heavily. Sometimes he would laugh loudly. Sometimes he felt great happiness within his heart. Sometimes he danced. Sometimes he clapped his hands. Sometimes he jumped with great force. How wonderful was Nityananda's transcendental form. A golden effulgence emanated from his beautiful body. Brightly shining ornaments decorated his charming bodily limbs. Yellow cloth adorned his waist, and he wore a cloth turban decorated with champaka flowers on his head. Tinkling ankle bells sounded as he walked. Tears filled his deer-like eyes. His enchanting smile appeared as if lightning had fallen upon the earth. His captivating smile disturbed the chastity of women. His grave voice resembled the rumbling of a cloud. His roaring subdued the mad elephant in the form of Kali. He walked like an intoxicated elephant. Tears of love constantly flowed down his smiling face. And it goes on and on. It's a beautiful, unbelievable description of the meeting of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda and the devotees. Anyone who hears about the meeting of Nitai Chand and Gaur Chandra will no doubt be released from material bondage. This is the secret of spiritual life. You become bound up in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. You become freed of the bondage of material existence. So they enjoyed many pastimes there in Navadvip, and some of them are familiar. We've heard one already, the dream of Sachi Devi. He was a real, sometimes a madman. Sometimes people would criticize. He stayed in the house of Srivas Thakur for a long time. People would criticize Srivas, why are you keeping this madman in your house? You should kick him out right away. Sometimes people would say, like, he's just a madman. Look how he behaves. Huh? What? Look how he behaves. He goes crazy. We already heard. He goes naked. He wears a turban. He puts his lower dress on his head as a turban and runs around naked. What a madman. Just see, when he was Haridas Thakur, he also, after the deliverance of Jagannath, when they were being delivered, Haridas was complaining, my Lord, why are you giving me this madman to be my partner on Sankirtan? The crazy guy. We go to the Ganga, he jumps in even in the flood season and grabs hold and plays with crocodiles. Jeez, he's such a crazy man. He goes and milks bulls. He just grabs any old cow, just drinks the milk straight away. Doesn't care if the owners come chasing, and he runs away. I'm too old and I get caught. They start to chastise me. Every unmarried woman he meets, he just says to her, hey, why don't you be my wife? Come over here. He's a crazy guy. How are you giving me, my Lord? And then what to speak of the marketplace? Just now we went to this marketplace, these two drunkards, practically they killed us. I got away by the skin of my teeth. This Nityananda, he just goes up to anyone and starts preaching to them. He doesn't care about the consequence. He's mad. We got away with, like this, different devotees were speaking about. Srivas Thakur, however, he was of a different mind. He said, even if my Nitai, even if he goes into into a liquor shop, even if he marries an outcast woman, I will never reject him. He is always my Lord. Nityananda would sometimes sit on the wife of Srivas Thakur's lap, Malini, and drink straight from her breast. He was like, 36 years old or something. It is just completely unpredictable. Totally absorbed, as we heard, Abadu. Totally absorbed in loving mellows with the devotees according to their reciprocation. Totally aloof. You can't imitate this. So after spending some years there in Navadvip, performing different Sankirtan pastimes with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to take sannyas. He discussed that with Nityananda. Nityananda was, in one sense, broken-hearted, of course. In another sense, he said, you are the independent Supreme Lord, you may do as you wish. He went with Lord Chaitanya, went over to take sannyas, and Nityananda also went there and was also present at the time of the sannyas initiation. And then they traveled together. Time is very quickly coming. The conch will be blowing shortly, so just one or two more things. On the way, having taken sannyas from Keshava Bharati, Lord Nityananda Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan. Asked Nitai, because Nitai had already been there. Lord Chaitanya had not been there. Please take me to Vrindavan. I want to go to Vrindavan. Yes, my Lord, I will take you to Vrindavan. I will take you there. And round in circles they were going in Radhadesh. Lord Chaitanya had no idea whether it was day or night where he was. He was in such ecstasy. And then Lord Chaitanya, are we there? Are we coming to the Vrindavan? Yes, my Lord, very soon, just now coming. And they said, over there. He told some coward boys, you tell, if Lord Chaitanya asks where we are, just tell them over there is the Jamuna. Yes, we're just approaching. There's the Jamuna. Oh, Lord Chaitanya was ecstatic. He ran and ran to the Jamuna. And he immersed himself in the waters of Jamuna completely. Nityananda quickly came, the party came, 3 or 4 of them there behind. Lord Chaitanya was standing there with his wet cloth, in ecstasy, having bathed in Jamuna. All of a sudden, who should he see on a boat? Coming close was Advaita Acharya. Advaita, how did you know I was in Vrindavan? What has brought you here? My Lord, wherever you are, that is Vrindavan.